screen. You'll be able to see everybody's hats again when we finish the presentation. We'll let you go back to the grid view. I think we need to have a contest clearly in the future for best hat. All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is Christy Jensen, and I am co-chair of the SGS Awards Committee, along with my colleague, Dr. Libby Yost. You'll hear from her in just a minute. And we're really pleased you've joined us this afternoon as we're going to recognize and honor our awardees. And you know this is coming right in advance of the Oscars on Sunday. We had our first ever virtual award ceremony for SGS awardees last May when we honored our 2020 awardees, and we're thankful we have the option to gather in this way again to honor our 2021 awardees. We've communicated or tried to with all of our awardees, and thank you because many of you are here and are aware of the award. Some of you have already received a plaque if your award was eligible for such, and others have one in the mail. And you're actually going to get to see some of these images of the awards in some of our upcoming slides. So I want to take just a minute to introduce our awards committee members, and then we'll get to revealing the awards. Our committee members have definitely been creative and dedicated to preparing this virtual program. So Libby Yost is my co-chair, and our committee members include Ethelyn Gibson. And Ethelyn can't wave to you from the screen here because she is celebrating in Maui and was able to participate in the conference earlier this week. That's the first time I've had Jody Titleman and I have been joined by a co-presenter from Hawaii. Another esteemed member of our awards committee is Jen Kraft Morgan, Marianne Adams, Cassandra Germain, and Sarah Mars. And we're only successful as a committee thanks to the tireless support and efforts of our SGS Executive Director Extraordinaire, Leanne Ferguson, and our incoming and in-training Executive Director, Amanda James. And I think they're the only two that came with different hair color today to really kind of take this up a notch. So last year, when we put together our first virtual awards event, we decided that it might be fun if the committee wore a hat to add to the celebratory feel of the event. And then many of you who joined us for the award ceremony last year saw us in hats, even stepped away from your camera, went back to your office or your home and found a hat and rejoined us. And so I think this is becoming our new annual tradition for the awards program. And good news is you now have plenty of time to find that stylish hat or several to bring to our conference next year in Florida. To my right here at my desk here in Williamsburg, Virginia, I have two more hats. So I will be doing a few changes. And I have to say, I am so thankful that there is a retired Broadway actor that is a good friend of a friend of mine. And this came straight from the Promises, Promises Broadway show from the 1970s. So that's why you'll see me trying to not cough as the feathers fall. So as we kick off the awards event in red carpet style, do keep your mic muted. And if there should be time at the end for us to go back to the grid version where we can see and celebrate each other's creative hats, and then open it up for any questions and networking to help us really end this conference on a high note. So sit back and join us as we honor our awardees. And I do want to emphasize, listen carefully. I can't tell you how much I've learned about the amazing work of our colleagues and what they're engaged in. So as you hear each of our committee members introduce an awardee and tell a little bit about their background, just listen really carefully. You'll be amazed and impressed. So Libby, will you introduce our sponsors?
I'd love to, but first, what's an award ceremony without a cocktail? So I would like to thank y'all. We unfortunately don't have our cocktails yet, but I would like to encourage y'all to make your own vaccine or other pandemic, hurricane, tornado, cocktail or mocktail creations. We'll be going, as SGS will do a virtual bartending later this summer to announce the winner. So please keep that on your calendar and check out our social media. But now on to our sponsors. Whoops, let me not get too excited there. So we'd like to thank our sponsors this year and every year, but especially this year for hanging in there with us for the second annual virtual awards ceremony. We'd like to thank UMBC Erickson School of Aging Studies, Riverside Center for Excellence in Aging and Lifelong Health, UVA, oh, hold on, sorry. This is like teaching class. UVA School of Nursing, Georgia State University Gerontology Institute, Western Carolina University, NAP, Virginia Tech Center for Gerontology. And just as a reminder, though your name might not make the slide next year, you can always text to donate to our future travel scholarships at Give to SGS or texting Give to SGS to 44321. So our first award this year is going to be the Victor Marshall Fellowship, and those will be presented by Jen Kraft Morgan. So take it away, Jen.
Wonderful. So this is the third cohort of Victor W. Marshall Fellowship in Applied Gerontology that we've given out. We have 4 deserving individuals, and I just wanted to say many of you knew Victor, and his focus was always on mentoring, and so we've really tried this year as Victor Marshall Fellows to infuse as much mentoring into this conference as was possible. And I really want to say thank you to the Gerontological Education Committee and the Victor Marshall Fellows, who all stood up and took a role in the conference, and executive committee members and colleagues that I just volunteered to do things, all came together to make this conference great. And so I really think that that's all in his honor. We are really lucky to have Emily Marshall with us today. And I just wanted to give her a minute to say something about her dad and this award.
Thanks, Jen. Hi. Hey, y'all. This is Emily. And you put up a picture of my dad. Now I've got to like teary my eyes, but thank you. I also wanted to say, I'm sorry I don't have a fancy hat, but this is the hat I thought my dad would most approve of because he was the biggest Tar Heel fan. And so I thought if I was going to wear a hat, this would be the one for today. So I just want to say greetings from my home in beautiful Nova Scotia, Canada. So I guess I'm part of your international content. So I'm Emily Gard Marshall, and as you know from Jen, Victor was my dad. So I first want to congratulate you on a brilliant 42nd Southern Gerontological Society conference. What an impressive program you've had. Really amazing. I'd also like to thank the wonderful Jen Kraft Morgan for inviting me to attend, and also for leading the establishment of this award in my father's honor. And I thought I would take a moment to confirm a few things about my dad. First, he loved the South, not necessarily because he left Canada and it was much warmer, but he just loved the South. He loved the people, he loved everything about being there. He also loved being a gerontologist. And he loved attending conferences, and this is definitely one of his favorites. His favorite part of his career was mentoring and celebrating his students and colleagues. And I know he would be incredibly proud of having all of the awardees hold an award in his name. I looked at the previous award winners earlier today and just was thinking about how well he thought of so many of his colleagues down there. Last, he also liked a fine single malt, as many of you might know. So I also want to encourage you all to have a beverage of your choice, and I see you have a cocktail competition going on, and have a cocktail of your choice this weekend, and please feel his and my immense gratitude for all the work that you do. And lastly, I wanted to acknowledge the extraordinarily challenging times that we're living in and recognize that many have lost loved ones. I believe the most important lesson emerging from COVID-19 is that the health and well-being of all humanity is now inescapably linked to how well we support and care for all human beings. And my hope is that this pandemic may lead to greater focus on equity and social determinants of health, not only in our own backyards, but globally. And I know that the work that you all do is playing a vital role in this. So I just want to say Thank you for your work, and especially congratulations to all of your award winners this year. Cheers.
Thank you, Emily. You're as eloquent as your dad. The first awardee, Libby, can you put the slide forward, please? Is Dr. Siobhan Mingo. Dr. Siobhan Mingo is an associate professor at the Gerontology Institute at Georgia State University. She is currently a member at large for the Southern Gerontological Society's Board of Directors and sits on the Gerontological Education Committee. Dr. Mingo's research agenda, which spans the areas of psychology, health disparities, and aging, is highly impressive and located squarely at the nexus of original and applied research. Specifically, her work is focused on understanding reasons for health disparities and identifying ways to address them through community-based healthcare interventions. Dr. Mingo's teaching portfolio reflects her dedication to educational gerontology and practice, as well as building original and applied research to advance the well-being of older adults, especially African Americans. Dr. Mingo also has a significant presence on the national stage and has been highly engaged in leadership with the Gerontological Society of America for over the past decade. Dr. Mingo's passion is to educate everyone about gerontology, mentor students, and inspire others to become gerontologists, much like Dr. Marshall. Congratulations, Dr. Mingo. Next slide, please. Dr. Patricia Slatum is currently an adjunct professor and co-PI of the Geriatrics Workforce Enhancement Program with the Virginia Center on Aging, College of Health Professions at Virginia Commonwealth University. Her scholarship focuses on geriatric clinical pharmacology, curriculum and workforce development in geriatrics and gerontology, and healthcare innovation to serve older adults. Her scholarship in curriculum and workforce development in geriatrics and gerontology evaluates curricular innovation in pharmacy and interprofessional education. Dr. Slatum led efforts at the VCU School of Pharmacy to integrate geriatrics and gerontology into the didactic and experiential curriculum for all pharmacy students and to establish a combined PharmD certificate in aging studies program at VCU. Next, her scholarship in healthcare innovation to serve older adults has primarily been around the development and evaluation of the Richmond and Health and Wellness Program, RHWP, leading to the development of the VCU Institute for Inclusion, Inquiry, and Innovation, Health and Wellness in Aging Populations Core. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Slatum. Next slide, please. Dr. Shawn Canty Williams, our esteemed SGS president. She would like us to remember that she's soon to be past president, also embodies the spirit of the Victor Marshall Fellows. Dr. Williams is Associate Dean of Diversity and Inclusion and Associate Professor of Nursing at the University of Virginia. She is an interdisciplinary scholar and a fellow of GSA. Her research focuses on older adults with cognitive impairment and chronic illnesses and the health and well-being of family caregivers. Her overarching goal is to reduce health disparities by developing psychoeducational interventions that are responsive to the needs of older adults suffering from chronic disease, particularly those from marginalized and under-resourced communities. Her mentorship activities, something Dr. Marshall prized above all, are also substantial and positively impactful. She has chaired or served on doctoral or master's students committees for over 21 students. She's mentored students NIHK award grants. She regularly publishes and presents with student co-authors. She has received awards for mentorship activities. Please join me in congratulating Shawn Canty Williams. Last but not least, she made it in time. Dr. Hancock is on, right? She make it in time? Libby?
I'm on.
Yay! Awesome. Dr. Cynthia Hancock is the director of the Gerontology program and teaching professor of sociology and gerontology, the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. In addition to her SGS service as program chair and her current service on the Gerontological Education Committee, Dr. Hancock's teaching record and gerontological leadership is incredible. She has won 2
college-wide teaching awards has earned fellow status at Augie. Unbelievably, she has participated in supervising more than 40 student committees and applied research projects. Dr. Hancock has also held leadership roles, including presidents in Sigma Phi Omega, the National Gerontological Honor Society. Dr. Hancock has similarly outstanding record of service, including community level, collaborative agenda setting, and service learning for students. In this, she employs an immersive approach to help students reach deep into traditional gerontological careers, but also across careers where gerontology students can add value to non-traditional settings for gerontology. Further, through this work, she's created a deep and wide-reaching network of collaborative community connections to support her students and the community. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Cynthia Hancock. So, as you may or may not know, new VM marshals, you are then conscripted into service at SGS to mentor and support the next generation. So as a group, we get together a couple of times a year and pull off some activity, usually in concert with the conference. So lucky you. Thank you, Emily, for being with us today.
Thank you. It was my honor, and I'm sorry I have to teach shortly, but I'm really proud of all of you, and thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Next slide.
So actually, congratulations to all of our Victor Marshall Fellowship winners. Our next award will be our GRITS Hall of Fame. And GRITS is for gerontologists rooted in the South. This award recognizes an individual or individuals who have made an important contribution to Southern Gerontological Society and to the field of gerontology through teaching, research, advocacy, administration, or applied practice. Nominees for this award may include those who have served as role models for future generations interested in the advancement of knowledge and practice in the field of aging. We also accept posthumous nominations. This year, however, we are incredibly lucky to congratulate Dr. Christy Jensen as our GRITS awardee. Dr. Jensen is the Director of the Health Services Research at Riverside Center for Excellence in Aging and Lifelong Health. I couldn't have said it better than Dr. Jody Titleman, one of her recommenders. Dr. Jensen unequivocally embodies the attributes and contributions that are inherent in this award and is demonstrated through service and leadership both to SGS and the aging services community nationwide through her dedicated and distinguished career. Whether it's her more than dozen publications that speak to her research, her numerous courses across disciplines, learning communities and topics, her advocacy for older adults, her numerous awards, her work with the Rosalind Carter Institute of Caregiving, Southern Gerontological Society, and the Alzheimer's Association in Virginia, Dr. Jensen epitomizes what a GRITS awardee should be. Described as, quote, a consummate professional able to make working together fun, end quote, and a warm and dedicated researcher. Perhaps most importantly, she's also known as an advocate and a friend. And it is with great pleasure that I announce Dr. Christine Jensen as this year's Gerontologist Rooted in the South award winner. Whoops, got excited.
Well, let me collect my thoughts and tell you the backstory on this, as I'm still sitting here shocked and not so happy with my sneaky committee. I'm stunned, and I was stunned last night when I first found out about this. So, and surprised. Those were my two S words. That was all I could come up with last night, and that's kind of still where I am today. And I'm incredibly humbled. So yesterday morning, let's backtrack. We had a business meeting, and I provided, as co-chair of the awards committee, our report. I clearly noted that we were not presenting any GRITS awardees at this awards program today because we didn't have any nominations. I further pledged that I would work really hard over the next year to seek nominations so that we can award one or more GRITS in 2022. So little did I know that my awards committee had this nomination up their sleeve, and I had a feeling Jody had some piece in this too. And I had no idea that if they were planning something, that it was for me. So I only learned about this surprise last night when I got home, and I found a large box on my front porch. And as I started to open it, I thought, this is the best practices plaque that my dear friend and colleague, Mr. Massey, is going to be receiving on behalf of the Peninsula Agency on Aging. And stay tuned, because you're going to see that award presented shortly. So as I unwrapped and unwrapped, I took pictures of the wrapping on my kitchen floor because I was stunned at how carefully whatever the item was in the box was wrapped. And I didn't find the plaque that I thought was going to be in there. Instead, a lovely grits vase with my name engraved. And I stood there and I took a picture of it and I sent it to Leanne. And I said, "Are you sure this was intended for me? Am I the recipient?" And she confirmed so. And I can tell you that I look forward to finding a special place in my office to place this vase where I know I will celebrate it and enjoy it for many years. So as I shared, I haven't had much time to process this award, but first thing I thought of was that I stand on the shoulders of some SGS giants and past grits awardees. So if you go to the SGS awards section on our website, you can review all the past grits awardees. And they include Dr. Chuck Longino, former First Lady Rosalind Carter, Dr. Erdman Palmer, Dr. Jody Titleman, and mentors of mine like Dr. Dana Bradley, Dr. Joanne O'Quinn, Dr. Lenny Poon, Dr. Frank Whittington, and Dr. Victor Marshall. Most of you know I've tried to dedicate my career to understanding the lived experiences of family and professional caregivers and lifting up their needs and their strengths so that they can continue in their role. I work in a relatively large healthcare system here in Eastern Virginia, and I would say we have a robust aging services division, but it's clear that formal healthcare systems can't handle or manage the sheer numbers of family caregivers or carers. Rather, these carers become the backbone of our healthcare institutions and of our communities. I was honored to serve as the SGS president in 2015 and 2016. It really seems like just yesterday. Somehow I finished my presidency before it became an assumption that you would serve 2 years. Thank you, Dr. Morgan and Dr. Williams. And we hosted our conference that year in Charlottesville. And I was thankful to institute the theme of transforming the landscape of caregiving. I'm thrilled to have so many colleagues in SGS who are dedicated to empowering and enhancing the lives of family and professional caregivers for older adults. The scholarly work in this area is growing quickly, as you've seen from this conference. And maybe, just maybe one day, we'll have a journal that's dedicated to family caregiving and be titled as such. I started in academia at the College of William and Mary, and I continue with a faculty affiliate role at VCU. But I really feel at home in a service provider and research organization like I'm in now, the Riverside Center for Excellence in Aging and Lifelong Health. And my success in this field is in no small part due to the team I serve with here in Williamsburg and colleagues throughout the SGS region. So you've often heard, and I'll wrap up, that SGS is like a family. And I wholeheartedly agree with this statement, as I've experienced the welcoming, the friendly, the scholarly nature of SGS that truly bridges research and practice. SGS is my family, my tribe, my professional home. And I'm so incredibly grateful for the SGS members I've had the pleasure of knowing over the years. I've been a member for more than 15 years. Many of you are colleagues, but you're someone that I look up to and that I have great respect for. And what I'm most thankful for is that I can call many of you dear friends who are my family and my team. I'm humbled and grateful and still stunned and surprised for this award. Thanks, Libby.
Thank you, Dr. Jensen, and congratulations. Next up, we'll have the Gordon Stribe Distinguished Academic Gerontologist Award with Dr. Jen Craft Morgan.
The Gordon Stribe Distinguished Academic Gerontologist Award is named after a true pioneer of social gerontology who over a 6-decade career in sociology and gerontology at Cornell University and the University of Florida has made major and lasting contributions to both fields. This award is given to an SGS member who has shown excellence in leadership in aging, has a strong record of scholarly publications, and has had significant engagement with students. Next slide, please. Dr. Burgess, professor and director of Gerontology Institute at Georgia State University, won this award because of her accomplishments in three main areas: scholarship, leadership in aging, and engagement with students. She has exhibited scholarly productivity, leadership, and significant engagement with her students. In addition, she has invested in the success of SGS, contributed to its mission as an academic gerontologist, and is regarded as a national leader in the field, with particular distinction in the South. In terms of scholarship, Dr. Burgess has published more than 25 peer-reviewed articles, 5 editions as co-authors of the Sex Matters, Sexuality and Society Reader, 5 book chapters, and multiple reports. In addition to these outstanding scholarly contributions, Dr. Burgess is a leader in the field of gerontology. Dr. Burgess has served as the director of the Gerontology Institute at Georgia State since 2009. Through mentorship, collaboration, or connecting with faculty members to resources, Dr. Burgess creates an environment that fosters excellence in professional development for the core faculty, including grants, publications, and professional engagement. In addition to supporting the professional development of faculty and staff, she is a national leader in gerontological education. The Gerontology Institute has a long history of community involvement and outreach. Dr. Burgess believes that community engagement is not just about service, but also is important to both instruction and research in the field of aging. This involvement raises the profile of the Institute and of GSU. Dr. Burgess has held leadership roles in Gerontology Society of America, BSS section, the Augie, and with the Student Mentoring Conference. In terms of engagement with students, Dr. Burgess has devoted her career to ensuring the success of the next generation of leaders in gerontology. She has supervised 4 doctoral students to completion of their doctoral degree, chaired 7 master's committees to completion, and served on 36 master's committees over her tenure. I think she just added 1 or 2 more this semester. She regularly publishes with students and takes great pride in supporting students to participate in conferences, which often includes participation and sponsorship at SGS. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Burgess on her award. I hate that I don't get to see her face. Hi, Dr. Burgess. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do I say something or no? Because I'm like in tears.
You can skip if you like. It's okay.
No, I just want to say thank you. And I think one of the things that is most important about this is that my colleagues were involved in the nomination. I always say I'm smarter when I work with smart people. And one of the things that I am really fortunate to have is a team of really smart people that are committed to SGS as well as research and mentorship and service. And that makes me a better scholar and a better human being. And I'm really honored by this award, and it recognizes that I've only got half as many years as Gordon Schreiber in the field right now. I'm just like maybe hitting 30 years in the field, but I think it's an important recognition, and I hope to continue to collaborate with Jen and Candace and Siobhan and many other people that I work with at GSU and across the South. Thank you for recognizing me.
And up next, we'll have the Applied Gerontologist Award that Christy Jensen will be presenting.
Thanks, Libby. So the Applied Gerontologist Award goes to an individual who has a sustained record of leadership in the field of aging, including involvement at multiple levels, local, state, and regional. The awardee must be recognized in the field and demonstrated development and innovative programs and application of these findings to research, education, management of service delivery, and practice. Further, the awardee is expected to have delivered numerous presentations to community and professional organizations, and to have demonstrated impact to quality of life for older persons. Next slide, please. Dr. Fayron Epps was nominated by Dr. Shawn Williams. Is Dr. Epps with us? She is assistant professor in the Nell Hodson Woodruff School of Nursing at Emory University in Atlanta. She's board certified registered nurse with a bachelor's that's been completed at Tuskegee University. Remember how I told you earlier to listen? It goes on and it's so impressive. She has a master's at from Loyola University, her doctorate at Southern University and A&M College, and she completed a postdoctoral fellowship with the National Hartford Center of Gerontological Nursing Excellence. She's been honored with a number of awards, and two more recent, the 2019 Georgia State University Gerontology Institute Distinguished Faculty Award and the 2020 Loan Repayment Program Award for Clinical Research through the National Institute on Aging. So I want to share just a few comments that Dr. Williams made in her nomination. Dr. Epps has been instrumental in improving the quality of life and health care of older African American adults living with dementia across our country. She's one of the only nurse leaders working to develop programs for this specific population. She's chosen to become immersed in the lives of persons living with chronic conditions and their family caregivers, which has led her to become a nationally recognized and sought after expert for culturally relevant dementia-friendly congregational programs for the African American population. Dr. Epps's impact to the field of gerontology has been through extensive service and commitment to reducing health disparities in the African American community, a community profoundly and disproportionately affected by dementia, and one that in particular we've highlighted during this conference. Her creation of evidence-based practices for improving quality of life and health outcomes for older adults with dementia has validated the significant role that faith-based communities and religious leaders can play in the continued health of patients with memory loss. This has led to changes in the perspective of physicians and practitioners in how they view and include faith leaders in the patient's care team. Dr. Epps has a deep portfolio of both research and publications. And what is most striking about her work with the African American faith community is the coherence, the innovativeness, and the community embeddedness. She systematically developed collaborative relationships with leaders and congregants in African American faith communities, and relationships that have led to the co-production of church services that are tailored to individuals living with dementia and their families. These relationships have provided the matrix for the establishment of an organization known as ALTER, A-L-T-E-R, that will prove to have nationwide impact in African American churches and communities, starting first in the Southeast. We celebrate and congratulate Dr. Fayron Epps, this year's Applied Gerontologist. Next slide, Libby. So I'm really pleased to present this year's Rhoda L. Jennings Distinguished Older Advocate Award. I wanted to let you know just a little bit about it, and that is a picture of Rhoda Jennings. It's presented to an individual who's 65 years of age or older, who has demonstrated a focus and effectiveness on advocacy and leadership among older adults, specifically in the Southern region. This awardee is a role model for successful aging through innovative contributions to society after the age of 65, and who's also recognized at the local, state, and national levels for their advocacy. Next slide. So Dr. Chow is with us, and this year she is receiving the Rhoda Jennings Older Advocate Award. Dr. Chow was nominated by Leanne Ferguson. And again, listen, Dr. Chow, it's so impressive. Thank you for allowing me a little sneak peek into just part of your story. Dr. Chow holds a bachelor's degree from Stanford University School of Nursing and was part of the 1954 Army Nurse Corps RN student program. She has a bachelor's in public health with a certificate in gerontology from George Mason University, a master's from Case Western Reserve University Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing, and here she received the 1979 Distinguished Alumni Award in recognition of being a distinguished nurse administrator, educator, researcher, and author. Her doctorate is in education and as well as her professional diploma in Administrator in Nursing Education from Columbia University, which also led to several awards, including her induction into the Teachers College Columbia University Nursing Hall of Fame in New York in 1999. Her most recent position from 1998 to 2014 was as Director of the National Interfaith Coalition on Aging at the National Council on Aging in DC. I want to take just a minute to highlight several other honors, particularly some federal recognitions. We use these awards to recognize our colleagues in the Southern region in particular, but Dr. Chow's work shows the impact nationally and internationally. She was awarded the 1987 U.S. Public Health Service Distinguished Service Medal from the Department of Health and Human Services for her exemplary performance of duty, for multiple outstanding contributions to the field of nursing at the local, national, and international level, and continuous leadership in assuring quality of care. On July 1 of 1995, she was awarded the Commendable Service Medal for outstanding service to the Bureau of Prisons from the U.S. Department of Justice. She was selected as an official observer to the 1981 White House Conference on Aging and proudly represented the Commonwealth of Virginia. And she has shared information on nursing, health services research, and aging nationally and internationally, to include trips abroad to Egypt, Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia, Germany, Israel, Japan, and China. She's received this nomination for the Older Adult Advocate Award because she exemplifies the reason as to why SGS implemented it. Leanne shares, I've had the pleasure of meeting Rita at numerous SGS and GSA meetings. She's such a strong supporter for our society, and her prolific works, as indicated in her CV, are most impressive. She remains an active and engaged volunteer with the National Council on Aging and is a strong supporter of an active trainer with continued nursing education efforts. According to our SGS digital records, Rita's membership with SGS goes back at least to 2002. She's truly a part of and embodies our SGS family, as a gem to our community where she has given so selflessly of her time and her efforts. We are pleased to award the Rhoda Jennings Older Advocate Award to Dr. Rita Chow. Congrats, Dr. Chow.
Our next award will be the Best Practices Award, and this award is intended to recognize programs, organizations, and aging services that engage in innovative and collaborative approaches intended to improve service and the quality of life for older adults. Now, this year we had an excellent candidate that we're really excited to share with you. So we'd like to first, I'll tell you, congratulations to the Peninsula Agency on Aging Safety Check-in Calls Program. And we've got Bill Massey here today, the CEO of the Peninsula Agency on Aging Check-in Program. Now, this program to date has served more than 2,400 clients in the Hampton to Poquoson region. So that's Eastern Virginia and the Peninsula, if you're not aware of the area. It's had in the last year more than 13,000 calls to homebound older adults. The Safety Check-in Calls program began in March 2020 as the country shut down due to the pandemic. And I'll read from the letter that nominated this program. Seniors, many of whom relied on public services to help stay connected, found that they could no longer attend congregate meal programs, participate in senior center activities, or use public transportation to go shopping for and to medical appointments. These calls, made weekly by volunteers and staff, made it apparent that many self-isolating seniors didn't have family who could provide the basic necessities. They either lacked close-by family members or were afraid to have family members come to their homes. So PAA started making deliveries to seniors in need in April 2020. While this program is obviously excellent for its clients, the nominators remarked how much it benefited them too. As one volunteer remarked, the program asked if I was willing to call 50 to 100 seniors each week and check in on needs, health, and so on. I jumped at the opportunity to still volunteer even in the time of a pandemic. I asked for 100 names. Since I had to stay home anyway, this was a way for me to still serve without breaking any of the new rules. It became a pure joy to still talk to these lovely people each week. I'm currently calling 50. I feel like I've made more than 50 new friends. Some tell me about their families. Some answer the phone and say, I was looking forward to your call all day. And some just enjoy telling someone else about their day. They all express their gratitude for the call, and some of them have even called me during the week to ask for something they forgot during our regular call. This check-in program has been a win-win. I was able to continue feeling like I was serving, and the client's new PAA was truly interested in their needs. It's surely been a blessing to me personally, said the recommender. So thanks to PAA and for the innovative program at a time of much need. Congratulations to Bill Massey and the Peninsula Agency on Aging Safety Check-in Calls Program team this year on being Southern Gerontological Society's Best Practice Award. And up next, we have Dr. Cassandra Germain and the Media Award. No, we don't. Up next, we would like to celebrate 40 years of JAG, the Journal of wow, that was off, sorry.
I got you, Libby. I got you, Libby. We're going to pass it to Dr. Julie Robinson, who's joining us from Chile, Connecticut today, and she is our esteemed current editor of the Journal of Applied Gerontology, and she's going to share the next few slides with you and tell you just a little bit about the journal and hit a few highlights. So Julie, I hope you like our Ruby slippers there.
Yes, absolutely. I like the return to the Ruby theme from SGS's 40th anniversary. So JAG is not too far behind. I think JAG and SGS have been linked together for 40 years. It's really very exciting. And so on this slide here, we just want to recognize the roster of editors over the history of JAG. Many of whom are still with us, and I want to especially thank my two predecessors. Malcolm Cutchin was the editor who actually first invited me to join the editorial board, and Joe Gogler, my immediate predecessor, who modeled and trained me in all things JAG editorial a couple of years back now. Go on to the next slide, please. Oh, am I doing the slides? No.
Did it not go forward?
Libby got it. Okay, good. Thanks. Great. So Libby and Christy reached out to a couple of our former editors to see if they wanted to just highlight any particular articles that really made a splash and have had long-lasting effect in the field since articles that were published during their times as editor, and both of them responded very quickly with one article, although they could have chosen from among many. Joe highlighted the article "Stress, Social Support, and Burnout Among Long-Term Care Nursing Staff" by Erin Woodhead, Lynn Northrup, and Barry Edelstein, published in 2014, but it remains on the list of the most highly cited articles of all time in JAG. I still see that one pop up regularly. So really a very impactful article. And Malcolm highlighted the article called "Reconsidering Successful Aging, a call for renewed and expanded academic critiques and conceptualizations" by Heather Dillaway and Mary Burns from 2009. And he pointed out that it's been cited over 275 times and counting. He also told us an interesting anecdote when he sent in this article. It was submitted for a special issue from another gerontology journal, and it actually it turned out not to fit exactly with that theme, and so he then recommended that they submit it to JAG, which turned out to be a great poach for JAG because it's again one of the most highly cited and impactful articles that we've published. So in 2021, I want to highlight a couple of special issues. The February 2021 special issue came out a couple of months back, and it focus was on equity and social determinants of health. And Shawn Williams was our guest editor for that. So if you didn't check that out online, go check it out. A bunch of really great, really interesting articles. And equity defined really broadly. We certainly had articles in there addressing race and ethnicity, but also articles just addressing gender and sexuality, food access. So a variety and nice set of articles that are very thought-provoking. In May 2021, a special issue was just released, hot off the presses, literally, came out this week online, and it's called Recent Findings on Aging and Technology with guest editor Sarah Saja. Sarah's on our editorial board, so I recommend taking a look at that. And we do have another one coming up just as a preview in July, which will be on caregiving on a global level with guest editor Catherine Ornstein, who's one of our associate editors. So you can check out the two that are out and anticipate the one that's coming in a couple of months. I also want to note that we have a special online collection of COVID-19 research that was published in JAG. Very early on in the pandemic, we put out a call for any research on COVID-19, and we do have a wide variety research on long-term care settings, research on older adults living in the community, living in long-term care settings, the workforce, you know, the health consequences, the consequences of loneliness, the resilience of older adults. And those articles are both about settings in the United States and people in the United States, but also a lot of international research on COVID-19. So it's really reflects JAG's international reach. So that's right on the homepage. If you go to the homepage for Journal of Applied Gerontology, you will see a big sign right there where you can check on those. And those are all published open access. So people do not have to have a subscription to JAG to be able to read those articles. Also give a shout out to our incredible partnership with Sage Publishing, our publishing editor, Stephanie Valladio, and our social media editor, especially Lauren Hunt. These two are completely instrumental in guiding us through the publishing process and in promoting the work that's published on JAG. So if you don't follow JAG on Twitter, jump in, follow it. It's a lot of interesting stuff you'll get notified about coming through the Twitter feed from Lauren. All righty.
Julie, thanks so much for joining us and allowing us to help celebrate your Ruby anniversary. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. You know what? If you don't mind, I wasn't sure if there was just another opportunity. I just had a couple things that weren't on the slides, but that I wanted to. I'll be brief. But
That's
I just
fine.
had a couple other
please
things
do.
I wanted to throw out there. I just want to make sure that I caught everybody. So also just to point out, in case you aren't aware, that JAG has really had showing a growing influence among gerontology publications. We've had an unbelievably huge year-over-year increases, both in number of submissions as well as article downloads. Just really phenomenal, and it's hard to keep up with the work, but it's just so exciting that we do it, we make it work. We also have a steadily climbing impact factor, and our rank among other gerontology journals is also climbing over the past several years. And so, in addition to those that we thank that were on the slide right there, I just want to especially thank SGS, of course, as our sponsor and chief promoter, and especially the Publications Committee, which is currently chaired by Connie Kugel and Candace Kemp. Incredible support. I want to thank the members of our editorial board, both the long-term and the new folks who dedicate their time to reviewing articles and just providing general guidance, and to thank hundreds and hundreds of reviewers literally across the globe. We couldn't do this work without the volunteer work from the reviewers. Also very grateful to the authors who submit their work and then painstakingly revise it. And our editorial team at UConn who make it all happen day to day, Christine Bailey and Kaylee Ligas, who are the managing editors. And then just point out that we do have 4 new associate editors, Catherine Ornstein, Chris Kelly, Molly Perkins, and Carrie Henning-Smith, to try to keep up with the influx of articles, as well as our book editor, Keith Anderson. So I just wanted to make sure I got to thank all of those folks in person. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in Florida next year. Thanks, Christy and Libby.
Thanks, Julie. And next we have the Media Award with Dr. Cassandra Germain.
Absolutely. So the Media Award recognizes an outstanding media contribution that furthers the understanding of aging in the region and the mission of SGS. This year's Media Award goes to the Georgia Gerontology Society for their outstanding series on dementia-friendly communities. The GGS mission and goal is to inform, advocate, and support. This series highlights the lived experiences of persons with dementia and their care partners as they navigate various aspects of their journey with dementia. Now, although this was a local project and the impact continues to grow, the links are online and are available for widespread distribution. So I do encourage everyone to link on. They have a wonderful series of programs that are available both for education as well as support in the larger community.
Thanks, Cassandra. Next, we have the Older Adult Travel Scholarship presented by Marianne Adams.
The purpose of this scholarship is to assist in defraying expenses of an SGS associated with travel, and it mitigates the expenses to the annual conferences. I received this award last year, and it was certainly an honor to be able to do that, even though we were not able to meet certainly face-to-face. The amazing award ceremony that the committee put on last year was amazing, and we get to see all the wonderful hats. So thank you all, well, us again for doing it this year. I'm so honored to recognize not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 amazing individuals. These folks, for those of you who know them, have put in hours and hours and hours of selfless love and dedicated labor to SGS. And this organization certainly would not be what it is were it not for the dedication and commitment of these wonderful individuals. And so I'm proud to call their names: Doctors Ed Rosenberg, Graham Rolls, Paula Seffens, Stephen Morrison, Priscilla Pittman, and Lisa Weesey. Please text give to SGS to 44321 to help support future scholarships. And please know that no amount is too small or too large. This is really important work. And we really want to thank them for their love and their labor. And please support these scholarships, because they really, really do help mitigate expenses for folks to be able to attend these conferences. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. And next we'll go with our other travel awards, and it's our student awards. So much like the Older Adult Travel Awards, the student awards are also funded typically through our silent auction, but this year through our text donation group here. So just to reiterate what Marianne said, you can text give to SGS instead of unfortunately going through our fun silent auction, but that just means so many more opportunities next year to buy all the little things. So, and Cassandra and I will be presenting these. So I will present our undergraduate awards. So typically these come from student paper awards. This year was obviously a little bit different. So this year we have undergraduate, master's, and PhD awards. We have 1st through 3rd place for all of these awards this year. And this year it was, it came from the Victor Marshall Fellows analysis and a lot of time given by that group and others to go through each of these presentations. And then this morning to give individual feedback to each student that presented. So thanks to the Victor Marshall Fellows and everyone for all their time and energy on this, and congratulations to our undergraduate awards winners. First place is Kelly O'Sullivan. Kelly O'Sullivan is from Barton College Gerontology program, and her presentation was Selected Factors Impacting the Progression of Dementia Across Ethnic and Minority Groups. And our second place winner was Destiny McCain. Destiny is from North Carolina A&T, and her presentation was Associations Between Neighborhood SES and Sleep Quality and Depression Among African American Adults Living in Low Income Housing.
I now have the pleasure of introducing and celebrating our Masters Awards winners. So first place goes to Ms. Andrea Hill for her presentation entitled Meaningful Engagement and Quality of Life Among Assisted Living Residents with Dementia. Ms. Hill is a master's student at Georgia State University. Her areas of interest include evaluating non-pharmacological interventions and health initiatives to enhance quality of life in persons with dementia. She is also founder and managing partner of the volunteer group Second Wind Dreams Coalition at Georgia State University. After graduation, Andrea will pursue a doctor in public health and to conduct applied research with an ultimate goal to improve everyday life for those living and affected by dementia. Okay, second place goes to David O'Neill for his presentation titled Feasibility and Pilot Outcomes of Transdiagnostic Group-Based Acceptance and Commitment Therapy in Older Veterans. That was a mouthful. Mr. O'Neill is a fourth-year medical student at Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. After graduation, Mr. O'Neill will pursue a residency in pediatric medicine. So we have two third-place winners. So the first is Siri Tumala for her presentation on the impact of COVID-19 restrictions on caregivers of individuals with dementia. Ms. Tumala is a first-year medical student at TCU and the University of Texas School of Medicine in Fort Worth. Her interests include public health, fostering community partnerships, and dementia research. We also have award Mrs. Cheryl Sherrard for her presentation entitled The Reduction of Dementia-Related Stigma through an Educational Presentation for Christian Faith Communities. So Mrs. Sherrard is a recent graduate of the Master's Program in Gerontology at UNC Charlotte, North Carolina. Ms. Sherrard is also a trained Stephen minister at her local church and a certified financial planner. So congratulations to our Masters winners.
So congratulations, and now we have the opportunity to hear about our PhD award winners. Our first place for the PhD awards was a tie, and this goes to Cheng Yin and Lana Kim. Congratulations. Cheng Yin is a student at the University of North Texas in the Department of Rehabilitation and Health Sciences. The presentation was Nursing Home Characteristics and Their Residents' COVID-19 Infections in Texas, a fixed effect model at county level. Lana Kim is at the University of Maryland School of Nursing, and her presentation was Standardized Assessment of Neuropsychiatric Symptoms for Hospitalized Patients with Dementia. Our second place award goes to Allison Smith. Allison Smith is at the University of Kentucky, and her presentation was Sex, Drugs, and Long-Term Care. And third was Gretchen Tucker from Erickson School of Aging Studies at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Her presentation was The Other Caregivers, Non-Spousal Male Informal Caregivers for Persons with Alzheimer's Disease and Related Dementias. So thanks to all of our students for excellent presentations, and they will be receiving a scholarship this year that will be sent out shortly, probably in the next few days, so check your mailboxes. So thanks to everyone for an awesome awards ceremony. And a toast to all of our awardees.
Libby, before we do our toast, can we ask Amanda to let us know how we're doing with the donations?
You most certainly can.
Yes, so we had a goal of 2,000. We're not quite there yet, but maybe we can get closer before the end of the call. But we have raised through the website and a couple outside donations, $1,189. So not too bad considering we started during the conference. So thank you to everybody who has donated. And if you haven't, or you're feeling like maybe you want to give again, You can definitely do that. We put a link in the chat if you don't want to do the text to donate. You have both options, so please help support our older adult and student scholarship fund. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. That's really exciting, Libby. And when Libby enlarged our pictures, look how enlarged our drinks look too. So, gosh, Jen Kraft Morgan, check out that drink. And Marianne and Ethelyn, who's currently enjoying her beverage in Hawaii right now. So, Libby, we're really fortunate to have such an amazing committee, beverages or not.
We are. We really truly are. And last but not least, our work would not be possible without the work of another group that deserves a round of applause. And so none of this conference, none of our last year's conference, or any of our former ones, it seems like, would have been possible without our fabulous team at SGS. So a warm and hearty thank you to Miss Leanne Ferguson, our Executive Director of SGS, and our new incoming Executive Director, Amanda James, and also our illustrious President, Dr. Shawn Williams, who will lead us on to the next, I guess, our next conference next year in Pensacola. So just to keep your calendars handy in case you're ready for this. Our SGS that will be 2022, will be our 43rd annual conference, April 5th through 9th at the Sheraton Bay Point Resort in Panama City, Florida.
Yeah, don't invite them to Pensacola. We want them to go to Panama City Beach instead. So they can go there later.
Maybe you can do a round trip of both,
There you go.
driving distance. Our call for abstracts will open in September, but make sure you check our website as these dates might change a little bit. Our award nominations will open in July and run through mid-February, and our travel scholarships will start early 2022 along with our paper and poster awards.
Libby, I think if we stop sharing this screen, then everybody has the option to go back to the grid view that we started with. And I think Lauren Hunt was going to try to maybe capture a few photos. So hang tight, smile, put on your cool hat. Jen,
Yes,
Jen, what happened
please.
to your dino hat? Or your
Perfect.
shoes
All
hat?
right, everyone smile. Gonna take a few, so just stare. Thank you. All right, we're gonna take one more. So you can put up your drinks if you want. Cheers. Perfect. Thank you all. Much appreciated. It'll be online and you can tag yourself if you like it. I won't do if you don't want to be tagged. So go in and tag yourselves.
Thanks, Lauren. And Libby and I want to thank all of you for, I know it's been a really long week, an exciting and packed conference, and particularly a kind of a long Friday. So we thank you for hanging in there, helping us make this fun. I don't think we'll be able to have an awards program next year without some hats or other gear. So start thinking, help us be creative and fun when we celebrate all these amazing awardees. And are there any last minute questions or comments before we dismiss the 42nd annual conference?
I just want to tell you all, thank you so much. And I wanted to share what was in the box. It was a beautiful pen with my name and a vase that is heavier than I'll get out. That says 7 years of amazing service. Thank you so much for that. I also wanted to say that Elizabeth Burgess came up with a really good idea for our silent auction next year, which was like, bring your hats, which I think is fantastic. And unless anybody else has any other comments or closing remarks, I just would like to conclude this 42nd annual conference of the Southern Gerontological Society and signing off officially as my last conference as your executive director.
All right, thank you all again for joining us.